name, join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Please be seated. Roll, please.
Liddell.
Here.
Shaver.
Here.
Cassidy.
Here.
Mendoza. Here. Logsdon.
Here.
Lake.
Here. Everyone should have received minutes of the previous meeting. Any discussion, corrections, etc.? Not, we'd love a motion to accept.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion to accept by Mr. Shaver, second by Mr. Liddell. Call the roll.
Liddell.
Yes.
Shaver.
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
Mendoza. Yes. Logsdon.
Yes.
Lake.
Yes. Minutes are accepted, approved, etc. Any communications?
I have none.
Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did meet this evening. We had minimal attendance, but we did have a short discussion on the financials that we received from the state, and things are looking fairly decent. Was an explanation by the Safety Service Director about shifting some funds around, and that was a pretty good explanation of how things are looking, showing he might get into that in his report a little bit better. We are going to meet again on the 16th of May at 5:30 p.m. which I believe is the third Tuesday if I look at the calendar properly. And that is my report.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anything from either of the other two committees?
Yes, we do. We've been starting the review of the dog ordinance concerning loose animals, that type of thing. Just reviewing the ordinance, looking at what can be changed, what the update could be done in this discussion, no decisions being made. And the other part is looking at Fremont Street as far as the parking issue there with one-sided. So we started on those two topics. Our next meeting is going to be the 16th at 5:15, and we'll be talking about those.
Okay. So May 16th, we have a 5:15 bond ordinance meeting, a 5:30 finance meeting, and at 6 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple items. As Mr. Shaver just alluded to, I did speak during Finance Committee about moving the funds. What that was is we had, if council recalls, we had sinkholes that developed at the end of December. We had one that developed about 6 to 8 weeks ago. So we had to take money, roughly $120,000 out of that normal funds from the water distribution side and use for those repairs. That created a shortfall in the water distribution department. We do have approximately $336,000 in American Rescue Plan funds. So the plan is to put those funds towards the purchase of the CO2 tank at the water treatment plant, because that is an acceptable use for those ARPA funds under the federal guidelines. Move that $250,000 that was for the tank over to water distribution and put that back into the repairs and maintenance fund and the meter fund where that money was taken from. So it doesn't actually, there's no money coming out of the general fund, it's just moving from ARPA funds and reallocating those funds. Secondly, the salt contract that's on the agenda tonight, I saw in the minutes, I was here, I was on vacation last meeting, that it was slated, it was okay to go 3 readings. If council would be so kind as to pass that tonight, the deadline is May 1st to get that into the state. So if it could be passed tonight so I can get our salt.
Which one is that?
The salt, yes. And then lastly, last Thursday I received a letter from the Department of Justice on behalf of the US EPA. It was a letter that we knew was coming. We've been in discussions with US EPA for several months regarding this. Part of our consent decree, we have to meet benchmarks. We missed the benchmark because of COVID and the spoils and everything out at the EQ basin for that water treatment plant addition. Because of that, under the consent decree, we incurred $261,000 in fines. But it's not bad as it sounds. We are hitting benchmarks ahead of schedule that were in the consent decree, and because of that, they're giving us grace and they're wiping off 99% of that. So we're gonna have a $2,600 fine versus the $260,000 fine that we were originally looking One of that, I mean, we are showing a lot of good faith on our end. The Reservoir 4 project, excuse me, that's slated to be done June of next year. In the consent decree, was not supposed to be done until 2029. So we are ahead of several of these projects that were in the consent decree, which bought us that good grace from Department of Justice and US EPA. So I just want the council to be aware of that, and that we are on the right track with this consent decree. Happy to take any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Ms. Kaiser.
Thank you. And looking through the new business for tonight, the two new appropriation legislation per Cindy that needs to be passed as an emergency tonight, please. And also the resolution regarding the Premier Bank, making the mayor an authorized signer on that. That should also be passed as an emergency tonight. And again, I sincerely apologize for the very late notice on that one. This was just brought to my attention late last night, and I didn't get a chance to get to it until this afternoon. So I am very sorry for that late notice, everyone. And I think that is all I have for my report. Do you have a question?
Anything from Roger? Thank you, Mrs. Kaiser. Appreciate it. All right. Very good. Now is the time for public comment. Members of the public who wish to address council can come up, state your name and address. Make sure you write it down on the paper so we can get it correct in the record. And you have 3 minutes to state whatever it is you need to state.
Good evening. Good evening. Joe Droll, 425 West Ridge Drive, number 109. Unusual for me to be addressing you guys from this side of the bench, but I occupied one of those seats for over 24 years. So me and my wife just recently moved back to town. We've been gone for 8 years. We love this town, and we're back, and we'll help in any way we can. I guess my comments tonight are going to be a little bit towards zoning. I took some time and spoke to Jason and heard some of his concerns of the things he deals with on a daily basis. I will be contacting Judge Best to offer my encouragement that she can do what she can do to help to prevent repeat offenders. With that said, part of our conversation was that there's over 70% rentals in Fostoria. So I kind of watched from afar some of the controversy last year with the rental legislation. I know these things take a long time in government, but I would encourage council and future council members to revisit that at some level with the 70% rental issues. And not everybody's going to be happy. And I think the one piece of advice I gave every member or every elected official, and I think it still holds true, and I'll remind them, 51%. If 49, at any given decision you make, you're going to make somebody mad. And so as long as 51% think you're doing a good job, make decisions based on that. So I would just encourage that in the future, we revisit that rental legislation, and my wife will do anything we can from the outside to help, anything we can do to improve the positive momentum that we have watched from Sandusky. So now we're glad to be back, and we'll do anything we can to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other members of the public tonight? Good evening, Mr. Allison.
Good evening. I haven't spoken for a while. I've already talked to Councilperson Logsdon and Lake. I do have some business for the Law and Ordinance Committee meet, and so you can follow along. I have extra copies. I'll give everybody a copy of the ordinance I'm referring to, which is 50521, which needs work. I already gave everybody one. I don't know. Okay. Actually, this ordinance, I noted it in my, which most of you have, in my obsolete ordinance thing that I prepared July 26, 2010, long time ago. Most of them, with the help of Councilperson Lodgson and Lake and former Councilperson Hoppel, have been taken care of. But this one, I'll read it. No person being the owner or having charge or possession of any house, pen, yard, or lot in the city shall keep or suffer to be kept therein any hogs, chickens, ducks, geese, turkeys, cattle, or other animals or fowl in such manner as to become offensive or annoying or prejudicial to the health of any other citizen or the public, provided that no hogs, goats, chickens, ducks, geese, turkeys, or cattle shall be kept in any manner between April 1st and November 1st in each year within less than 200 feet of any resident or business or of any other person which now is or may be established in the city without having first obtained the written consent of such person. That ordinance, at the very least, isn't enforceable. It's too vague. It's a relic. It really is a relic, because you wouldn't word anything between April 1st and November 1st any longer, but you would back 50 or so years ago because of the fact of the odor in the situation. So I requested that the Law and Order Committee take a look at that and decide what to do with it. At the very least, it needs to be revised, maybe even repealed, but it certainly needs to be revised because it isn't workable, period. So that's what I have to say again. Now, if anybody doesn't have the obsolete ordinance matter that I did July 26, 2010, which I just revised in September 2022. If you don't have a copy, I originally furnished every member of council over the years a copy, but if you don't have one, I have extra copies here. I'm sure Councilperson Logsdon and Lake have copies because I've been working with them. And Councilperson Shaver probably has a copy somewhere. It's not a big item, but at the same time, ordinances that aren't workable and aren't needed shouldn't be in the ordinances in the book at all, period. So that's all I have to say regarding that. I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Allison. Good evening, Ms. Affiliated.
Good evening. Good evening, my name is Jill Affiliated, 402 West Culverson Street. Just have a quick question after listening to Justin talking about the water issue. And my question is, and I know that you're relatively newer to it. Yeah.
Okay.
You're relatively newer to the committee, but here's my question for working. If I recall correctly, this EPA issue is dating back many, many years ago, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So my question is, and I'm glad that it was abated, but why did we wait so long? You might not know because you weren't here, to actually get started on this thing until we were so close to the deadline.
So it's not necessarily the closest. We started this well in advance in order to finish. COVID hit in the middle of it, and it caused supply chain issues. That's another reason they were pretty forgiving of it, was because of it. Every time we go for strict enforcement of the timeline with our contractors, they claimed COVID. And there was case law that allowed us not to.
When did we go into that we got fined? 2000 what?
I'm sorry.
2000 and what was?
So when you mean the original consent decree signed, you mean?
What year was that?
2008, I believe.
That's what I'm saying. Why did we?
There were steps. So this was actually, this wastewater treatment plan is the fifth piece of this
the fifth piece
plan.
of all.
The long-term control plan,
Okay.
yes.
Because I was just like, wow, we waited because we know what
Yeah,
the
no.
deadline was.
So we completed 4
2025.
steps prior to this one.
Okay, am I correct that our deadline for everything to be done is 2025 correct? per the
No,
decree?
no, but 2031 is the final deadline for all. of the
2031,
decree.
okay, that clarified for me.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Other members of, well, you didn't even let me get it out.
Renee Vogelsong, 702 East High Street. Well, I'm glad to be back up here again. I want to thank Mr. Manel, Mayor, and the city department, whichever department it was that was out there, they did get the basin in on Fremont Street. I really appreciate that. Now we just wait for the hole to get covered up. But it takes steps. We understand that. You know, it's not going to be, we've been waiting a long time to get that done. It's now getting done, so really appreciate that. I've got a couple concerning things though. This past weekend, there was a petition signing that was being done out at the plaza. And there was only a couple people out there actually with the petition. And there's only a handful of people coming out to sign the petition. But there's 25 or 30 protesters out there. And I know this isn't bad for the council, but it is for the city. These 25, 30 protesters that was out there was very alarming. They pushed the one petitioner. They threatened another petitioner. He left. The police was called by phone twice that I know of from there. One of the one that was threatened and left because he was worried about his safety. He went to the police department, phoned back to us, and told us that he was informed that if the police has to come out there because there's any problems, everybody's going to have to leave. Now, why is that fair for everybody to have to leave when the one doing the petition isn't the one causing the problems? It's the protesters. Why would they have to leave? And he was told the petition and everybody would have to leave the property. Now, the police never showed up while I was there. I stayed for quite some time. And another party had stayed with this petitioner just to make sure, try to keep some peace. We did have to leave after staying there for quite some time. But, and then I found out maybe about a half hour later, the police did show up. You know what? There was nothing in the paper. Under the reports, there was nothing in the paper that the police was called out there for disturbance or anything. Did they pick and choose? Is that what it is? It should be the reports. If the police department has to be called for somewhere, it should be in the reports and it should be notified for us. We are paying taxes. And if we're going to hear about being was called out because somebody drank somebody's last sip of pop, that happened a few years back, that was in the paper. Why isn't something like this? It's sort of alarming. Another thing alarming is try on a regular business day, Monday through Friday, regular hours, try to come here and go up and talk to somebody. Try to speak with somebody in the mayor's office. You can't get in. Come into a little area, ring the buzzer, stand there, rings and rings and rings. You never get anybody. I thought the building was open back up. COVID's over. Why isn't the building open back up so we can come in and utilize parts of the building as the citizens? So I guess that's all my grumping today. So thank you.
Other members of the public?
Nobody wants to hear from me yet.
Good evening. Braden Hall, 813 West North Street, and I'm here this evening to formally introduce myself and ask for your vote in the upcoming election for City Council at large. A little bit about myself. I have a 4-year degree, business degree from Ashland University, and an MBA from Bowling Green State University. My work experience includes 6 years here working in town at Manel Milling. Those positions include customer service and a sales manager position. And the thing about those positions are they are customer first. And if elected to city council, I hope to be a citizen first council person. As well as my work experience, I am part of various boards here in town. Those include the YMCA, United Way, and the College Memorial Library. And being a part of those boards have given me a lot of valuable experience working with different people from different backgrounds, and I hope to carry that over if elected as council person as well. And being a part of those boards, I've seen firsthand the wonderful things happening in this community when people can work towards a common goal. If elected, I hope to support downtown businesses and local businesses as well. I want to continue the support for our first responders and keeping our city streets safe. And then along with that, another topic that I think I can help with is doing whatever I can to improve city infrastructure, which includes improving city streets, updating our storm and sewer systems, and our water system as well. And wrap things up here, I believe in this town. I believe in the people that reside here. I believe in the businesses that choose to operate here. And I chose Fostoria as my home, and I hope you choose to cast the ballot for Braden Hall, Fostoria City Council at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Judge?
All right, I don't like to cut anybody else off. Judge Best, I'm back. So we had a really busy day in court today. We had a lot of arraignments, so if there's a little bit of a mess up there at all, I apologize for that. We also had 3 trials. Tried to get to a suppression hearing. We kind of ran out of time. There's only so many hours in the day, right? So as you all know, I'm on the primary ballot May 2nd. I'm here to, again, ask for everyone's support and vote. I think we're making some good progress here in Fostoria. Been trying to make it a positive place where people feel heard. They come in and try to listen to every side of each case. So I've worked in several municipal courts, and that's been kind of an ongoing frustration for a lot of people that use the courts. They don't feel like they're being heard. They feel like they come in. They feel like they're just kind of pushed through and they're just numbers. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make sure that everybody is heard and that justice is done however that may be. One thing I have noticed since I've been here, so as some of you probably know, the municipal court judge is also on the pivot court, the multi-jurisdictional drug court. One of the things I've found that's frustrating for Fostoria people especially is pivot only serves Seneca County residents. Obviously, we have 3 counties. Wood and Hancock get left behind. I do not want to see people fall through the cracks and be left behind. People in Wood and Hancock County need help too. They have drug problems. It's touching everyone. So I'm trying to explore some grant funding through the Supreme Court to try to expand our probation department to provide services for those residents that might not qualify for pivot at this point, because we don't want to leave those people behind. So that's one of the main things that I'm really trying to work on right now. But obviously we need manpower, we need programming. So we're working on ways to do that, and we don't want it to affect the city of Fostoria's overall budget either, or the city of Tiffin. Just, we want to do what we can. The Supreme Court has funds available for all kinds of things. You just got to find them. I already applied for one grant to at least kind of update, modernize probation's case management system to assist some of the failures to appear issues that we have here, updating people's addresses, just communication in general. The system we use is a little antiquated, so we're trying to work on that. I haven't heard back yet. Hopefully we'll get that money, and then that'll be some updates that we've been long waiting for. We're also working on getting the text messaging system back in place, and it sounds like notices are getting received a little bit more. We're having less failures to appear, which is good. Had a couple today, unfortunately, but that's going to happen. But overall, it's been going really well, and I'm happy to talk to anybody after the meeting if anybody has any questions for me. But thanks for listening to me again. May 2nd, vote best. Thank you.
Other members of the public today? Doc, how are you?
Good. Bob Kodak, 325 Perry. I'm going to save my spiel for tomorrow night. I won't bore you with that 3 minutes here tonight. I just had a question. It's something we've been going back and forth and discussing for quite some time. Is the new sound system ordered for?
The sound system is on order, the PO has been given to the contractor. The equipment's been placed as an order. I was told it'll probably be end of April before they'll hear about the status of the equipment being available, the electronics itself.
Great.
Yeah. So that is in process.
Because even if I turn my hearing aids up, it's hard to hear everybody back there. The other thing is that there is a EPA meeting about what the landfill wants to do at Stacy's Place. I believe that's May 11th. That sound right?
I don't want to swear to the date. There is a meeting though, you're absolutely right. I mean, up at the public meeting.
And as I understand it, they basically want to change where they're storing their leachate and water out there and make it a little bit closer to the both the Wolf Creek and the west branch of the portage, which is not good for Fostoria. So I encourage all of you as council people and anyone in the audience to be at that meeting. The 11th rings a bell, but that I couldn't find it. I looked it up. So other than that, thank you very much. I will see some of you tomorrow night.
I know that people get tired of the supply chain issue thing, but it's still a thing. So we do the best we can. I was speaking with one of my vendors. We have new clarinets coming. In January, they were supposed to be here 1st of February. In February, they were supposed to be here the end of March. In April, they were going to be here by the end of April. Still no clarinets. And that's in Elkhart, Indiana. So
that date is correct, and it's 6:30.
That's what I was going to say that to you. I saw it, found it. Thank you.
other members of the public? Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for participating. We appreciate it. Let's move forward to more business.
An ordinance granting consent to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio and authorizing the mayor on behalf of the City of Fostoria, Ohio, hereinafter referred to as the Local Public Agency, LPA, to enter into contracts with the Director of Transportation necessary to complete described pavement repair projects and declaring an emergency to exist.
And this is the second reading of that ordinance. Next one, please.
A resolution to authorize participation in the Ohio Department of Transportation ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2023.
Mr. President, I move to waive the three reading rule on three separate occasions.
Second. Let's do waiving the three reading rule by Mr. Shaver, second by Mr. Cassidy. Call the roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Aye.
Mendoza?
Yes.
Logden?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes. That rule has been waived.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved to adopt by Mr. Lake, second by Mr. Logston. Call the roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Aye.
Sorry. Mendoza?
Yes.
Logden?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes. And that becomes 2023-26. 26. And that concludes all business. On to new business. What's your leisure, man?
Okay, thank you. A resolution urging Governor DeWine and the Ohio Department of Transportation to reconsider the ending of the Route 23 Connect study and in support of an improved highway connection between Northwest Ohio and the city of Columbus.
That is the first reading of that resolution. Next one, please.
An ordinance adopting and amending ordinance number 2022-75, permanent 2023 appropriations by appropriating from unappropriated funds in the CHIP FY23 fund and sewer fund and declaring an emergency.
That is the first reading of that business.
Mr. President, move to suspend the three reading rule on three separate occasions.
Second.
Move to suspend the three reading rule by Mr. Lake, second by Mr. Shaver. Call roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Yes.
Mendoza?
Yes.
Logden?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes.
That has been waived.
Move to adopt.
Second. Move to adopt by Mr. Logsdon, second by Mr. Cassidy. Let's go roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Yes.
Mendoza? Yes. Logsdon?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes.
That becomes 2023-27. 27. Next, please.
An ordinance establishing the City of Fostoria's Community Housing Impact Program, CHIP FY23 243, and declaring an emergency to exist.
That's the first reading of that resolution.
Discussion. Were they moving monies around just to pay for the chip until the funding comes in, or is there any detail on
I don't have any detail from Cindy on that.
it? Okay, so.
She had said it was gonna be on tonight, and that was
Okay.
the,
Well, maybe
as
the
far as
next,
that
next
went.
reading will have some
Yes.
information. I'd just like to understand what's going on.
I think because she sent Stephanie, I wrote the same email, it just says that it needed passed.
Yeah.
That was the entire
It
explanation.
looks like the monies are being moved temporarily until the
Until
funding
the
comes
funding comes in.
back. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Next, please.
A resolution to approve the mayor as an authorized signer on all listed depository accounts held at Premier Bank and declaring an emergency to exist.
The first reading of this resolution.
Move to suspend the 3 reading rule on 3 separate occasions.
Second.
Move to suspend the 3 reading rule by Mr. Lake, second by Mr. Logsdon. Let's call roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Yes.
Mendoza?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes.
And that is waived.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Move to adopt by Mr. Cassidy, second by Ms. Mendoza. Let's call roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Yes.
Mendoza?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes.
Becomes resolution 2023-28.
Can we go back to that last piece of legislation? I'm not sure. Cindy had requested that we pass this or not. So I don't know if you guys
The second chip one.
disinclined
So
to
the second
do that,
transfer of all
but-
money,
Yes.
because that's a big chunk of cash.
Yes.
Okay.
If you guys would be so inclined, Cindy did request that.
It's for the housing program, right?
It is, that's correct.
And that funding should be coming in from somewhere.
Yes.
So how,
I can reread it, can I
Reread
reread
it.
it? And then you have to vote to adopt and
okay,
let's do it.
I guess that's what we're doing.
You want a motion to reread the?
Let's do it.
I'll make a motion to reread the third item of new business for this evening.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Shaver to revisit and have a new reading of the resolution establishing the City of Fostoria's CHIP program, CHIP fund, second by Mr. Logsdon. So let's call roll on the motion to reread.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Yes.
Mendoza?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes.
Read away.
Okay. An ordinance establishing the City of Fostoria's Community Housing Impact Program, CHIP FY23 243, and declaring an emergency to exist.
Move to suspend the 3 reading rule on 3 separate occasions.
Second.
Move to suspend the 3 reading rule by Mr. Lake, second by Ms. Mendoza. Call the roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Yes.
Mendoza?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes.
That becomes resolution 2.
We did that.
You're right. That's why I haven't written it yet.
Motion to approve.
Sorry.
Always do that. We did like some kind of light.
There you go.
Second.
I'll make.
Motion to approve by Mr. Logsdon, second by Mr. Manel. Let's call roll.
Manel?
Yes.
Shaver?
Yes.
Cassidy?
Yes.
Mendoza?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Lake?
Yes.
Now, it's resolution 2023-29.
2-9?
29. Because we went 2-6, so new business, consult, 2-7 to the appropriations, 2-8 for the bank, and then back to 9.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yep.
All right, I'm back, I'm sorry.
Very good.
Sorry about that.
That concludes that part of new business. Now, I believe this evening we're supposed to have people from Ward 2. Did anyone get a hold of that?
I'm
We're
sorry.
doing the Ward 2, is that tonight or is that next week?
My understanding is tonight.
I thought it was tonight also. We have either, and I can never pronounce Richard's last name. He just sends a thing. We have either the Ward 2 potential fillers. Yes. Thank you. I'm consonant impaired. Either the people looking to fill the Ward 2 vacancy with us tonight? Mr. Baker, I presume?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So we have one of the two. Do we listen to, because I don't know if anyone, did he understand, he understood it as well as anyone, he read it as well as anyone. Council, what would you like to do? We have one representative here, we have one application that we got at the last minute. Should we just proceed?
I think so.
Okay, very good. Would you like to come forward and sort of state your case as to why we should put you on there, Mr. Baker? And then answer some questions and all that good stuff. Well, thank you for coming. Ward 2 people are the best. Not biased in any way.
It doesn't sound like it.
But that's what Mr. Gold was here for. They said he lived in the neighborhood.
My name is Tom Baker. I've been a lifelong resident here for 58 years. My family grew up here. Everybody in my family has grown up in this area. This is where I learned. I graduated from St. Wellen. Been on a lot of different committees at the St. Wellen level. I've worked at Manel for 36 years. I've worked my way up through, now I'm a sales manager for Manel, so I'm hoping to use my communication skills to talk to the residents of Fostoria, solve any problems we may have, and also to help, if we can, bring more business into town. And I want to back up the police department, give them the right equipment we need to make this place a safe place and try to make this a drug-free place. I know it's impossible, but we're going to try our best. I don't know what else to say.
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hang on, don't leave yet, because you're going to get some questions.
Oh.
Questions for Mr. Baker? Okay. Thank you for not making me a lot of mistakes.
Are you in favor of supporting the safety forces in this community?
Yes.
So you
Yes.
clarify that. No one gonna let you get by without answering the question.
No. I'm glad I was able to.
Any other questions?
You're an elector in the city of Fostoria, you're registered voter.
Yes.
You do with the board too. Just for clarification.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Appreciate that. Very good. Well, seeing as how he's the only one here tonight, I guess we call for a vote, and I don't know if we need any discussion, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of candidates. Someone motion for an up or down vote, or I'll speak up once.
It seems like we're getting hit with a lot of information and having not very much time to think about it. That's where I'm at right now. As far as background, I did have questions for you, Mr. Baker.
Yes.
As far as communication skills and that type of thing, usually it seems like the biggest thing is being able to present an idea of that type of thing to the public. Are you comfortable speaking?
Yes.
That way, you seem to be, I'm just asking. So
Yes.
many people are not, they're uncomfortable with that. Trying to relate an idea. That seems like one of the bigger things in the other part. If you had to pick, if you had one item that you could fix in the town, what would it be? The first thing, what would you, if you could pick one thing that you go, oh, okay, it's done. What would it be?
Wow, there's a lot of things to do.
Well, that's what I said.
I mean,
I'm just trying to, I know, I'm a guy.
Honestly, I'd just like to change the mentality of this town. We gotta be positive. We have to be positive. There's nothing more than that. I mean, that can change a lot. I see a lot of negativity and we gotta stop that.
Yeah.
Good answer. Thank you.
We are certainly welcome to consider the appointment of a public employer official if we want to go and do that, or we could. But I cannot make that call. That is your call.
Do we want to fill the position? I think it's our best interest to fill the position instead of having an open spot. So, I'd like to make a motion to accept the proposal.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Logston to appoint Mr. Baker to the Ward 2 vacancy, second by Ms. Mendoza. Is that the appropriate wording? I don't want to put words in your mouth. That's what you were talking about?
Yes.
Just want to double check.
Yep.
Double check. Let's call roll on that, please.
Manel,
Abstain.
Shaver,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Aye.
Mendoza,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Lake.
Yes.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We will, Ms. Kaiser will get with you about next meeting and what we need to do and get all that stuff going. And we'll welcome you in here, right? In May. It is still April.
Yeah.
It still is?
My birthday.
Oh,
Good time to mention the next meeting is Wednesday.
yes, it is a good time to mention that the next meeting is Wednesday, May 2nd. No,
Third.
Third.
see, I wrote down second in here. My notes are full of yes.
Mr. President, I will be absent.
Okay, thank you for letting us know. Okay, May 3rd, Wednesday, May 3rd, because the election day is May 2nd. Go your conscience, or however you choose. Is this the meeting that we are discussing finance director applications, is that in May?
No, did not happen at this meeting.
No.
Okay, very good. All right. Any reason to go to executive session?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Move to adjourn, Mr. Shaver, second by Mr. Cassidy, call roll.
Cassidy or Logston?
Logston. My bad.
It's okay.
Fine.
Hey, at least I called you a name.
Fine. Manel,
Yes.
Shaver,
Aye.
Cassidy.
Aye.
You guys are messing